Good evening and welcome back to Saddle Up with Steve and Jay right here on Horse Racing World Channel. Steve, it's great to be back after our Los Alamitos break.
It sure is, Jay. I'm excited this time of year because we're talking about my favorite day. You can really start doing the work now. And, Breeders' Cup is coming. It's about a month plus away, but we're going to see the preps tomorrow. And I'm super excited.
Oh yeah, we've got 2 weeks of preps going on, so we'll definitely be doing shows these next 2 weeks, focusing on not only how those horses are going to do, but how they might factor into Breeders' Cup races and what they're prepping for. So definitely exciting times, and then it gets a little bit easier in the middle, and then the Breeders' Cup's just right around the corner. So should be a very, very exciting month, and then. We tap it, we close it out. The excitement finishes up with Del Mar opening day for the regular season. So this is still the busiest season in horse racing. Let's get started. Steve, let's talk about some news. We were very disappointed to see that Nysos did not make the Pacific Classic. He had a bone bruise, I believe it was in a rear hoof. And Bob, it's a mild injury. I mean, compared to Nysos has been on the shelf for close to a year with some of his injuries, but this one's not too bad. But he couldn't make the Pacific Classic, and Bob was hoping to make this one a springboard to the Breeders' Cup Classic, but he's just not ready. He's actually just got back on the track, and I think he's got a recorded work that's out there. I don't know if Mike or Bruno has evaluated that work, but or Andy Harrington. But I think he's going to get and gear up slowly. And right now, the plan is there's just not enough time in this month to go in the classic, but they're hoping for the dirt mile. What do you think of Nysos's chances in a shorter race? I think that's something he's already proven, isn't it?
Sure is. And, Baffert's already proven it too. I mean, I can think of three or four times that Baffert has bought a horse off of a long layoff. I remember a horse in the Breeders' Cup Sprint down at it was at Gulfstream with Eddie D. And the Baffert did it there with a $25 horse that was running longer distances. So if he cuts back into that sprint, I know there's some tough horses that are going to be in there. I'm not sure that all of them are coming into it the right way. So he's certainly going to be a horse I'm going to look at in the sprint and certainly in the mile. Going to be very interested to see how he trains up to it, and which race he chooses, where he draws, and does the race set up for him. But he's certainly a very, very talented horse. We know that, and he's going to have a big shot in either one of those races.
Yeah. And hopefully, I think considering his abbreviated career, I don't know if they've actually sold his breeding rights yet. If they have, I haven't, I don't remember reading about it. But yeah, hopefully the plan is to keep him in training one more year for the big winter races like the Pegasus World Cup and the two big races in the Middle East. I think there's almost a debt to horse racing fans that you give him a chance when healthy to show what he can really do, and not just take the money from breeding. I mean, you've got I know it takes another year out of the wallet, because unlike fillies and mares, you get so much per cover with studs like Nysos, but nevertheless. I think his stud value actually enhances if he can get some of those big races on his resume.
Yeah, Jay, this is one of the most talented horses that's come along in the last 10, 15 years. I think Nysos had that much ability. I thought he was a possible triple crown and kind of started his career off like American Pharoah. That's why we're talking about this horse so much. I don't know if you feel as strongly about his ability and what he could have done with his career. It's a shame. We see this from time to time. Some of these really, really good horses just can't stay healthy. And boy, if he doesn't finish his career in a good way. I mean, you and I are not going to be surprised if we go to DRF and see that he's been retired even tomorrow. But I would sure like to see this guy in a big race prove that he really is as talented as we might think he is.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of talent, there's no question. The only thing we haven't seen him tested for at this point is distance. So
Right.
whether he's actually a classic horse, we just don't know yet. We were supposed to find out, but
Yeah.
we just didn't yet, and I'm hoping that we do. Uh,
Such a shame because I don't think we're going to get to see him run a longer race. I really don't. If they're going to prep him for this race, if he makes it to the Breeders' Cup, can't you just see he's going to retire right after that? I mean, just it just really feels like that. And
I hope not. I
yeah,
really do. But I mean, he is 4 year old, and for top horses to run beyond 4 and miss a year of stud fees, unfortunately, it's a rarity, Steve.
especially with that trainer.
Yeah. So hopefully this will be an exception to the rule. Steve, the big race that went on while we were on our little siesta was the Pennsylvania Derby, the $1.5 million Pennsylvania Derby. And Baeza impressed mightily with a handy win there. Did you? I'm sure you watched the race, Steve. What did you think of his performance?
God, it was really impressive. I mean, he won for fun, and I thought he beat some good horses. So I mean, he didn't. He looked. He was at the back of the pack, and I had one of the horses that was right in front of him, and the name escapes me right now, but he went by my horse like he was standing still, and he went by everybody like they were standing still. Very impressive effort. You know, I always say what happens in Philly stays in Philly. I kind of said that a few times, and then a horse won the Breeders' Cup Mile 6 or 7 years ago over at Santa Anita with after Philly Park race. So I do watch him. Baeza for the Breeders' Cup Classic or the Breeders' Cup Mile. What do you think, Jay? I mean, he's an improving 3 year old. He sure looked good in that race.
Well, when you consider he was half a length off of Sovereignty in the Classic, I think you've got to take a shot because even if he doesn't win, Baeza in a very contestable field this year, I think there's no one dominant older horse. So there's several good ones. You've got Fierceness, you've got Sierra Leone, you've got Mindframe, and then I think Sovereignty is heads and shoulders above the rest. I'm having trouble picturing journalism as a candidate for the win based on the last race. But yeah, I think when you're considering the Breeders' Cup Classic is what $6-7 million, something like that. Even the second place share of that's going to be more than you'd get for winning the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. So I'm thinking he goes in the Classic, but maybe they want the easier path. The easier path might not be so easy with Nysos in the Dirt Mile.
Yeah. Always dangerous, these 3 year olds at the end of the year that are getting good. So, I mean, just if they're a little bit behind and then all of a sudden they start peaking right about now, got great connections with that horse. John Sheriffs is a terrific trainer. And I wouldn't underestimate that horse. I'm going to keep my eye out on him. I've got my eye on a lot of horses. I don't really think that that's an unplayable race. And I'm keeping my eye on him. I don't think I'm going to end up on that horse, but I'm going to certainly keep my eyes on him the next few weeks.
Yeah, see how he works, see how he trains up to it. And I'll tell you, the big disappointment in that race that I couldn't imagine was not going to be in the trifecta was Gosker. He'd had some very impressive races and just nowhere.
He didn't show speed early and he didn't show it late. And that's just a horse that just didn't fire on that particular day. I thought he was going to be closer. And he was the horse I was talking about that I couldn't remember the name that Baeza went right by Gosker. I thought, okay, Gosker's rating today. He's still in a good spot. Baeza went right by him so easily. And you just, oh, Baeza's going to fire. And not only did he fire, he ended up winning. Yeah, I have no excuses for Gosker. Not sure what they're going to do with him, but certainly the Breeders' Cup Classic, I think would be a real stretch for him. But maybe cutting back in the mile again, one bad race. I thought he had a couple really good races coming in, but I'm with you, Jay. I was very disappointed in Gosker's performance.
Yeah, as was I. Now, Biza was no surprise as the favorite in that race, but in the filly and mare version, the cotillion, I was a little surprised. I thought that was I didn't have Clico, in the top spot, and Clico really stepped up under Rat Ortiz and won the cotillion handily.
I did have her. I thought she was improving. She had not run as fast as a couple of the favorites, but she really had a good looking line. That was really a sheep play for me. And she did get the right trip and ran an okay race. And I tell you what, my eyes are wide open for these fillies and mares right now because that's another division that there could be a big upset in. Um, because I think uh, the top horse, the horse of the year last year, she looks a little bit light to me this year so far. Jay, not quite as good as she was, and I'm sure she's going to be favored. What's her name? My name's escaping me right now.
Are we talking about last year's 3 year old, Torpedo Anna?
Yes, we are. Yeah, Torpedo Ann. It seems a little bit. She's good, but she's just not. I wouldn't say she's great. And I think Mile and an Eighth at Del Mar with the right scenario. She got an easy situation last year. Did not impress me over that track. Yeah, I'm looking for somebody to beat her this year.
Yeah, with Ryan Hernandez on the shelf with an injury.
That's a shame.
Yeah, yeah. With Hernandez out, what do you think of Flavian Pratt taking over that mount?
Now, and certainly it's never never a negative to have him. I'm very boy, we're hopeful. Say our prayers because I don't think we know all the news with Brian Hernandez, but it certainly sounds like that was a very serious injury that he's going to have to recover from.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not supposed to be career threatening, but it's going to take some time. Like Tyler Gaffalione missed 3 months, I think. I
Yeah,
think you're looking at something similar for Brian Hernandez, but I don't think this is going to be something that might spur retirement. Though
that's
Brian's
good.
not the youngest guy.
No, no, he's mid to late 40s.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I think mo these jocks are so competitive. Most of them don't want to go out that way unless they have to. It just killed Lafitte Pincay to have to retire when he didn't want to.
Yeah, Pinkai, Nakatani, Delahousse, three guys from out here that were absolute legends. All three went down with injuries and never came back. So I wish him all the best.
Yeah. Well, Steve, it's been an eventful week. We didn't spend as much time handicapping Los Alamitos because you and I have to recharge our batteries from time to time. But now we're looking forward to the glory days here, and let's get into some of these big races tomorrow. Let's go east to west. It's Rosh Hashanah, Steve, so we'll go biblically and go the other way. And I asked you to look at the Grade One Turf Classic at Belmont. It's a short field because there's two main track only horses, and they're not predicting rain tomorrow. So it's a field of five if there are no scratches, and please hope there's no scratches. Five is short enough in a
Mm,
grade in a Grade One. But anybody impress you out of that very tough five pack? I think you could make a case reasonably for any horse in the field.
mm. Gosh, I've just been so impressed with Rebels Romance. Um, Seven, Dubawi, uh, fresh. He seems to fire. Appleby seems to be great. The pace seems to be in his favor. And I just, it feels to me like the rest of these are pretty competitive, but they're a slight cut below. I don't know if this is the main goal for this horse, and he did run here at Belmont and didn't hit the board, but I think Rebels Romance is going to be tough. I'm going to be treading very lightly, keeping my eyes on that race. Maybe they overbet him, but at the odds of the other horses right now, I think Rebels Romance is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the last big race he ran, the Group One, King George and Queen Elizabeth. He was third in a five-horse field, but keep in mind that third was to one of the two best turf horses in the world, Callandagan, who hopefully is going to come over for the Breeders' Cup turf. But we don't know. I mean, there's some very ambitious races this time of year. You've got the Arc, you've got the Japan Cup, and I think one of these horses, and I'm not sure if it was Callandagan or the other one, the 3-year-old, was attempting to do this and the Japan Cup in a short window. So we'll find out, but would love to see Callandagan. That one just has a kick from behind, and it's no shame for Rebels Romance, who then came back and took a Group One over in Germany. Not as tough a field, but a Group One's a Group One. And, yeah, Rebels Romance is indeed the class of the field. Even money favorite. You've got Frankie Dettori getting his first shot because William Buick has other plans for this one. But yeah, should be a really, really competitive race, and we're going to see what happens. And then let's go a little more into depth with the Woodward. And I know one of the reasons I picked this one out, not only because the Woodward is a historic race, even though it's only a Grade Two now, which is disappointing, but it has a favorite that was beaten last time in Locked, but it also has a horse I know you followed very closely, and that's Post Time. What do you think of Post Time's chances today versus Locked in this tough field?
Yeah, boy, I really like post time in the Whitney. He just never was able to save any ground and really didn't fire his best shot. Then he goes back to Laurel and he wins for fun again. Pretty frustrating horse to me, and he's only 7-2 now. I'm not throwing this guy out of the Breeders' Cup Mile with the race that he ran last year, because he ran awesome in that race and was beaten by a horse that we're going to talk about in full Serrano. In his day, and he's been able to ship, but gosh, it just is a 7-2. Sometimes he just doesn't show up. And again, I was so disappointed last time. Locked is it's very similar. It was so good those 3 or 4 races. Won the Cigar Mile, the race at Gulfstream. He really had a tough trip, and then he just crushed Santa Anita. And you can just, whether you're a visual handicapper, Jay, or whether you're using Brisnet, or whether you're using Ragozin, and this horse was in that 3-4 range that Fierceness is in. And then the last couple of times he's run a 7 and a 10. And is he going to show up with one of those big races? Or is he going to show up and run the races that he ran the last 2 times, which there's 6 or 7 horses in here that can run those numbers. So I'm confused on what to do with both of these shorter price horses. I'd be certainly willing to listen to you if you've got a price horse that you think has a chance on sheets. This is a pretty competitive race if Locke doesn't run his A race.
Yeah. First, as far as post time goes, post time is just a Laurel freak. If you look at his record at Laurel, it's tremendous. It's something like he's won 80-90% of his races over there. Just owns that track. He's like the definition of a horse for course, and certainly didn't seem to mind the slop. Now that was a much easier field. That was an overnight handicap, $100,000 pool. So whether it was in the slop or whether it was on the dirt, the hard fast track, I do think that post time had that field over a barrel. And considering he was bet down to a nickel, I think the Laurel fans didn't have too much of a hard time getting that one. He has faced Locked once in the Cigar Mile at Aqueduct and was coming on for a nice second, going a mile. And considering this race is a mile and an eighth, you can certainly picture in your mind that post time could make up that difference, those 2 lengths, getting that little extra distance, especially in this super razor sharp form that he's in, easier field or not. Locked really surprised me last time, Steve, because I certainly thought that in the Suburban, versus Phileas Fogg, I thought he outclassed that horse, but Phileas Fogg ran super impressive that day. I don't know if you either watched the race or had a chance to watch the tape, but Phileas Fogg just ran away from Lockney, could never make up the ground. So I still think Phileas Fogg, who played bumper cars last time with the Jockey Club Gold Classic field,
Right.
knocked everybody down, knocked a Raz out of the saddle. The Raz just bounced back, though, was back in a few days, not a long injury. But he was taken down and placed 7th for his troubles. And that one, of course, killed the trifecta I have because I had Antiquarian on top as well in the trifecta I gave out, but with Locked out of the with Phileas Fogg out of the running. That was not a very good trifecta race, and in fact, the disqualification killed me. Antiquarian ran big that day, and Sierra Leone could just never quite catch him. So that was really an eventful race, and just makes me wonder, how Sierra Leone is going to do if he's going to get that pace setup that he needs in the Breeders' Cup, because it does seem like he's a little one-dimensional if he doesn't get that pace. But to answer your question, as far as the long shot, Steve, no, I don't. I think it's the three favorites. I think post time, Phileas Fogg and Locked are going to decide this. But yeah, what did you think in terms of that race in terms of Locked and Phileas Fogg? Do you think you know do you have an explanation why Phileas Fogg beat him so handily, or just not Locke's day?
I mean, I'm just looking at Locked, and I just see a horse that's pretty inconsistent, Jay. I mean, when he's on his day, he's special, and what a beautiful horse. I mean, he is just giant. He really caught my eye in the Santa Anita handicap, and he ran huge that day. He put blinkers on, and he had some troubles in a few of his races before, and I thought, here we go. This is going to be the horse to follow for the year. So I wouldn't give up on this guy. I think he's going to be a good one to watch tomorrow. I couldn't take 9-5 on this horse, though. I'll tell you that. I really want to see how he does in this race, because I'm sure if he runs well in here and he heads back towards that 3 and 4 that he ran 3 and 4 races ago, and he might have a shot shipping back out here to the West Coast at a little bit of a price. So I'm going to keep my eye on him very carefully. And but I don't see where there's a bet in this race.
Yeah, no, with three of them being, I would say the thing closest to a value is post time at 7-2. He's 1 for 3. He's never been out of the money here at Aqueduct, but you've got two horses that are just course freaks. Locke's a perfect 2 for 2. Phileas Fogg's 3 for 4 and a second at Aqueduct. So they're both incredibly fond of the track. Yeah, I mean, I think post time is the closest thing we'll get to a price, but that 17 length victory is just gonna, I think, tamper any shying away from him, tamper my enthusiasm about. I don't think you're gonna get the 7-2. I think it's gonna be more like 5-2. But let's keep a good thought. Your horse might finally be a price against this tougher field, and maybe you'll have a bet if he drifts up a little bit and I'm wrong.
Now, listen, the one thing I'll say about you saying it's my horse is my horse is the one I'm betting on that day. I liked him that one time. It doesn't mean I'm going to stick him in my barn. I used to always say that to a buddy of mine. I said, "You have a barn, and once you like a horse, you always like him." And I think I think you need to reevaluate each time you're evaluating the odds. And I really thought that was the right day for post time to maybe have a shot at a win. And it was disappointing because the race did set up for closer. Sierra Leone came flying. And if it was going to be that day, and I'm looking at his sheet right now, and I'm looking, and that was the worst race he's run in the last five. But that's the way it goes. He just didn't run on that day. But I still want to keep my eye on him because he sure ran at Del Mar last year. That was a heck of a race he ran. So I'm really going to be watching all of these races because we want to be able to watch that last race and then formulate that opinion for Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. So, Steve, yeah, as we said, let's move right to left. And by the way, Happy New Year, Happy Rosh Hashanah for any of our listeners and viewers who celebrate. And before we get into the races we're going to more depth on, quick question for you on the City of Hope Mile. You have Johannes. Johannes is the even money choice here. Far and away the class of this field. It's not even close. But last time didn't quite run his race against a very tough field, including Deterministic, who I will modestly say I picked to win the race. That was one of my best bets on the card that day. Loved Deterministic. But Johannes is now back on his home field where he's a formidable 7-7, 7-4-7. Steve, off the last, what do you think of his chances of making it 8 for 8?
Doesn't sound like a broken record today. I do have a couple of horses that I think are worth watching in the Goodwood, but I don't really like anybody to beat him. He looks like the horse to beat to me. Even money would be too short for me to take. Gosh, again, I hate to sound like a broken record. I think he'll be tough. I think he runs his A race tomorrow. He's been really dominant at that track. And if you go back and you look at a lot of his wins on paper, you'll see they're a length, 3/4, been some close finishes with him, but he's always been in hand. Rispoli's really ridden this guy well over this track, and I think he's going to be very tough tomorrow.
I think if he runs his regular race, I mean he's not going to be touched. But here's my there's a factor that we don't focus on as much in horse racing, and that's form. These horses are not machines, and like any of us that have a bad race. And he was trounced last time against a tougher field because, yeah, I'll always maintain that, the New York circuit is probably half a notch above ours. And, their grade 2 and grade 3 horses are competitive out here in our grade 1 races. So I thought Johannes would be a little tough against it, even though, certainly you look at the Breeders' Cup Mile, where he faced all the best horses in the country and some of the better horses in the world. Certainly Johannes, made a good accounting of himself. And by the way, before I forget, notable speech while we were on our break. Ran a huge race, and he should be back for the Breeders' Cup Mile. And notable speech is a Charlie Appleby, and he was just ahead off Johannes, and I think he's going to be loaded for the Breeders' Cup. He looks just super impressive. So looking forward to seeing what notable speech can do. But yeah, because Johannes is coming off one race where he's off form, the question is, do you just single the guy every time, or do you look and say, maybe this is the time I can beat him? And usually with horses this good, Steve, that time doesn't come very often. But I'll use at least one other horse in here, and out of that blanket race, in the Del Mar Mile that a couple of horses in here exit, including Almendaris, who wasn't far off in this City of Hope Mile last year to Johannes. I mean, he gave Johannes everything he could handle last year, and Almendaris is good in here as well. But I'm really partial to Cabo Spirit at a very fair 9-2. Cabo Spirit will draw the six post in a six horse field. I don't mind the outside post a mile when it's this short a field. In fact, I almost prefer it because you definitely stay out of trouble. This one I think is one that can clear and move along and do quite well here. I think Cabo Spirit will probably have the lead turning for home, and then it's just a question of whether Johannes makes up the ground like he usually does at Santa Anita and catches him. But I give Cabo Spirit a puncher's chance.
All right, we're going to agree to disagree. I don't like him in the race tomorrow, but he's a game horse. I've always liked Cabo Spirit. I don't think it's right for him tomorrow. And if I did, I would be betting him, but I don't think I'll be betting him tomorrow. I'd need double digits to be thinking about it.
Okay, and in a six horse field, you're not going to get it. So we'll see what happens. I will have Johannes on my tickets, obviously, but this guy's going to be on the ticket as well. So we'll see how this goes. So now the other race we were going to talk about in a little more detail, and before we get into our horse by horse race is, of course, the feature race, which lost a little bit of luster because of the absence of Nisos, but it's the Goodwood. And you've got, the horse you mentioned, Full Serrano, is going in this. He's actually the second choice to First Mission. So, Steve, what do you think? What do you think of those two horses and their chances?
Now they're definitely the two horses to beat. And I will say this: I was about as impressed as any horse that I've seen in a long time. I'm not going to say in my entire life because I've seen a lot of horses, but Full Serrano, when he came on the track last time, that was something special. I really didn't visually, I guess I didn't, maybe I didn't take as close a look at him when I saw him in the Pacific Classic or in the Breeders' Cup. He's run 4 races here. He's run great every time. He certainly has tactical speed in here. I don't think there's a ton of speed in here, and I'm not a real huge Pribman fan. He has problems changing leads. It just looked like he was exhausted last time when he crossed the wire. I did not like the way Pribman galloped out at all. So I think he'll end up being the best of the speed. But the horse that I'm a little bit interested in, other than the two favorites, is the other Baffert, is Nevada Beach. This horse has just got a great looking sheet. He's run better each and every time. And his last race on sheets, he ran an 8, and that's what all these horses have run. Express Train ran an 8, but he's an older horse. I don't generally like older horses when they get back to where their top is. I think Nevada Beach is heading the right way. He's going to get 6 pounds, and the fact that he's the other Baffert in here with Pribman in here at a shorter price and with gaming in here as well, I think Nevada Beach has a little shot at a big number, but Full Serrano and First Mission are going to be very tough to beat. First Mission's extremely consistent. Paco Gonzalez comes out to ride, and we won't be seeing him for he'll be on a long hiatus coming up. I don't know if you read about the suspension that he got, but he got a very long suspension. Full Serrano and First Mission are the horses to beat, but I'm going to give Nevada Beach a little shot in here.
Yeah, well, when you talk about form, Steve, we talked about Johannes being not in the best form right now off that big loss back east. Nevada Beach is certainly a horse that's in fine form, or as Trevor Denman would say, he's in fine fettle today. Just pressing the pace and drawing off by 4 1/4 lengths. Just looks like he's really, really on the improve. He's a very, very lightly raced 3-year-old trying older today. So, basically, he's got some, real gray beards like Express Train right outside him, who's 8 years old, and definitely have some fresher legs here. And yeah, gotta love that price, and really, I think in this field, I think you're going to get close to it. If it's not 12-1, I can't imagine it being much less than 10-1. And certainly Bob Baffert has won his share of Goodwoods. I'd have to go back and see, but I'm guessing there's a long list of Goodwoods that Bob has run. He does have gaming in here as well, and I don't know that gaming is still what he was, in his juvenile year when he won the Del Mar Futurity. He has not panned out quite as I thought he would, and gaming seems more like a trial horse now against some of the better competition. I think we've really seen the best of gaming. When I crunched the numbers, Steve, there was one long shot that work on the numbers that I use that are compiled from Brisnet. The one horse that I gave a really outside chance to was not, Nevada Beach. Nevada Beach can improve, and he can become that horse. But on what they've done already, the only other horse that I really gave a shot at here was number two, Ultimate Gamble, who you and I both dismissed in the Pacific Classic. But I think he got a lot out of that. When you look at running against fierceness and journalism, that number was big. He kind of paired up the two numbers by Brisk standards, and I think he's going to need a bit of a pace duel in this one because he's not going to make the lead in this one. I know in that classified allowance he was right on the pace. He will not be right on the pace today. These horses are too fast for him. But given some pace up front, I'm not going to dismiss Ultimate Gamble for Mark Latt.
I like the ground saving situation for this horse. I think he'll be right behind the speed, which will be a good spot. And I really liked his race two back, Jay. I'm not going to throw this long shot out. I think you picked a horse here that has a chance. He did only run an 11 in the Pacific Classic, so even though it was third, the 9 lengths that he was beaten by, he didn't go super wide, and again was 10 lengths behind Fierceness, which we think this race is probably going to be closer than 10 lengths. The winner will be closer than 10 lengths to what Fierceness ran. So I don't think that's a bad pick. I think he has a shot. I'm looking to perhaps try to beat First Mission and Full Serrano, who are both solid horses. I just landed on Nevada Beach, but I could see your Ultimate Gamble winning here.
Yeah, he's not going to be on my main ticket. I've got my horizontals already laid out, and I'll be posting them at racingjason.com shortly after this podcast is taped. We're taping on Friday night this week. Obviously, you didn't see it Thursday night. We're trying to take advantage of being able to access some of those, other numbers that are just not available till later, like the Thorograph numbers and the Ragozin numbers, and you just can't get them on Thursday night. So that's why we shifted to Friday. So you have less time to watch the podcast. So hopefully people will jump on it fast. And as everybody knows, our picks at racingjason.com, our full cards and best bets for $25 and $15 respectively are available every weekend. Steve does all the weekend days. I do at least Saturday and then occasionally other days as well, depending on what's going on. So, Steve, it's that time that I think a lot of our viewers like to see, where we take a race and really drill deep and go horse for horse. And we're going to do that with the Eddie D today. And I picked that one out because it's a little more competitive race, in my opinion, than some of these. It's a quality grade two field, and there's 8 horses. So it's by today's standards anyway, it's a fairly full field. So, Steve, you want to take the lead here on this one and tell us what you think of the rail horse number one, Reef Runner.
Yeah, interesting race from this horse last time, and I got to tell you, I thought I had a little argument with a friend of mine. He thought that this horse shouldn't have come down. I thought this horse should have come down further than it did because I thought this horse impeded 2 or 3 or 4 horses because Paco got really aggressive again, as he always does, and he came over and he really eliminated the field there. I do not like the 5 to 6.5. This horse looks more like a 5 furlong horse, has the rail, which I don't like. They're obviously staying out here, maybe thinking, hey, we can come back to, we just missed in the green flash getting the DQ. They're thinking Breeders' Cup turf sprint for this horse, but I don't like this horse from the rail. His number last time was by far his top. And I just don't see Paco getting that kind of a trip from the rail. This looks like a horse that wants to run a shorter distance. I'm going to pass on Reef Runner today.
Steve, he's an East Coast horse, and you know how I feel about East Coast horses. I probably feel a little more strongly about their advantage than you do, but I know you've seen plenty of times when an East Coast horse has come out here and just embarrassed their competition at the same length. What I don't like about Reef Runner, despite including the 3-to-1 price, I really don't like the rail for this guy. The rail at the last meet historically has basically played at 7%. for the meet that just passed, and it's done better at other times, but last meet wasn't so great. And I just think that's a little too much of a disadvantage for someone that's going to be coming off the pace. And I'll pass on Reef Runner on the win end. Might look at him our top three at the end. The next horse up here, we will look at the next contender here, and that is Nassau's, how do you pronounce it? Nassau's Last Hurrah. And this one hails from the Pete Urton barn, Hector Barrios aboard. Pete and Hector have teamed up on this one the last two, and the horses run well. A decent second uh, in a uh, over an optional claimer slash allowance race, as I like to say. And he wasn't up for claim in that race or either of the last two races. So, Pete obviously likes him, wants to hang on with him. This is a major step up to a grade two and certainly ran well enough on turf. He certainly likes the Santa Anita turf course. He's 2 for 3, but and he's certainly consistent as clockwork. Look at all the first, second, and third place finishes. The only race that he's been like out of the money, there was a race at Del Mar, which this is not, and had some trouble there, had some bad traffic, and finished 11th. But other than that, he's been in the trifecta every time. So, like Nesso's last hurrah, I'll consider him for a place on the board. Not really seeing him on the win end, though. What do
Yeah,
you
I'm
think?
kind of agreeing with you there, Jay. And I don't know where exactly this guy is going to be. I like the rider switch or the rider, and he doesn't switch. He rode him the last two times. Love Barrios, but he's coming down the hill with speed. He's got speed to his outside. Where's he going to go? He does get the rail at 0, so he's going to try to probably ride that rail and cut the corner. I just have faster horses, and I just think on the cutback. I think this guy will be there. I just think someone's going to be in front of him. I think he's a good horse to use in the exotics. He's going to be in my top three in the end, but he won't be my top horse.
Okay, he's borderline for my top three. I kind of make a game time decision when I figure out my top three. I do have my top horse in mind, but I haven't figured the other two yet. I'm just
We're going as we go. I like it.
yeah. So Steve, number three, Mucho del Oro at a fat 20 to 1.
Yeah, I just don't think this is the same horse. He's had 4 or 5 bad outings in a row. He changes trainers away from O'Neill. I love O'Neill with these crazy price horses, but now it's Papa Padromo. Maldonado's on this horse. They've got one way to go. I guess he could get the lead in here. I think there's another horse that's really fast in here. I think the horse to his inside is going to show some speed. Um, Not a total impossibility that this horse could come back and show some form because he's had some really nice races down the hill. But I'm going to pass on Mucho del Oro. I don't think he's the same horse right now, and for me, he's a pass.
Well, he's 7 for 15 lifetime, but at Santa Anita, but he's 0 for 5 in 2025. And in fact, he hasn't hit the board in 2025. So I don't know what happened. May 26, 24, he ran a bang up race winning the Daytona. He went on the shelf for 6 months and just hasn't been the same. I mean, there's no front wraps that went on. So, normally that's a sign that, they're a little ouchy. We don't see any front wraps, but whatever injury that he had. Like you said, Steve, he just doesn't look like the same horse after that injury as before. Pass for me too. I think the 20 to 1 line is justified here. So we'll look at number four, Sorrento Sky. This is another horse that's coming out of that green flash race that Reef Runner is exiting. There's a few of them in here. And this one kind of faded at the end and basically faded from third to seventh. But because the winner was shortening up, Reef Runner's margin of victory was getting a little bit shorter. He actually, finished less behind at the finish than he did at the stretch call. So when you're only 2 lengths behind in a blanket finish like that, you certainly can't throw him out. You have Umberto Rispoli, arguably the best turf jock regularly riding out here. I know Hector Barrios fans might make their case, but if one's one and one's 1A, and it's hard to go wrong with either one. Um, I'm at 5 to 1 and Rispoli and third off the layoff, which is often a horse's best. They're normally primed for that. Nice record over the course, 3 for 7. Sorrento Sky is definitely in my thinking as someone that can hit the board here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he can hit the board too, for a lot of the reasons that you said. Good record at Santa Anita coming, I don't know if I love the 5 to 6.5, and we're seeing almost every horse do that in here. So maybe that's going to give someone that's cutting back more of a chance. But this horse has certainly been competitive. He had an inside trip the last time he ran 6.5 in the San Simeon, and I think that inside cost him a little bit. If Rispoli can get position on this guy, I think he could be around for a piece. He's borderline for me in the exotics.
All right. Steve, it's number 5, Yellow Card.
I mean, Yellow Card ran a great race to Howard Wallowitz in Kentucky Downs at 6.5. Now he's got 2 5 furlong preps. He's got the right style in here. He should get pace to chase. I'm not a huge Kimura fan, but I think this horse is a contender for the win. I'm not going to put him on top, but I think Yellow Card will run well. I don't really see that many knocks, and I think this might be the right distance for him. So would not be a surprise to see this horse win this race.
Well, he's come back here, and against a lot of these, he's been prepping for his graded stakes again in these optional claimers slash classified allowance races. Not really classified allowances, but more like regular allowances. Classified allowance would be a step higher, and finished a strong second, and then won the last one at the same level. So now he's got to move on to a non-winners of 3 if he wants to go back and compete again. But they come up with all these levels. The race that really stands out to me is that Franklin Simpson Kentucky Downs race. That was a strong second against a super tough field, including who you mentioned, Howard Wallowitz. That was a $2 million purse, of
And
course.
at this distance too, Jay.
What's that, Steve?
And it was at this distance too, six and a
Yeah,
half
yeah.
furlongs.
And also Kentucky Downs. I would say Kentucky Downs has the most European type field, type course, excuse me, in the country with all the various hills and ups and downs.
Right.
And our turf course, our hillside turf course here is probably the closest equivalent to it. So obviously, Yellow Card likes this kind of field. He's 7-2, and the question to me is the value worth it? But he's a contender for the win, no question about it. Whether he's going to be my top horse, that remains to be seen. Whether he's going to be in my top 3 because it's such a competitive field, we'll find out in a minute. But yeah, I think Yellow Card's going to run well. So moving on to number 6, Beyond Brilliant. Yet another horse that exits the Green Flash race. And this one just did not get off to a good start. And characteristically, he's more of a router, and this horse has route speed. So when he runs in a race like the one right before at that optional claimer going a mile, he can really get out. I think he got out faster than Hector Barris would have liked. I don't think he could control him. I don't think Hector Barris wanted to pop him out of the gate and see him 5 lengths in front of the first call because he just had nothing left, and he faded badly late. But that's not his typical race. This is another one that has had not quite recapturing the form, just like we were talking about Mucho del Oro. This
Hmm.
one last ran November 22nd at Del Mar, where he just missed winning in the Seabiscuit. And then obviously it was a pretty serious race because he didn't come back for 2.5 years. So yeah, you can think that something seriously went amiss in that 2.5 year window. It would take so long, and has not run the same in those 2 route races. Now you can make the case that well he's rounding back into form, and but last time sprinting at the Green Flash, he doesn't have sprint speed, but he certainly made a rocket-like run from the back, 10th to third, and almost winning. Yeah, I think Beyond Brilliant may be rounding into form, and 6.5 might be his distance.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's only one thing I don't like about this horse, because this horse really ran a much better than looked race 3 back. The tape on that horse against Almendares when he was ninth, beaten 4, he had all sorts of trouble in that race. And then I thought they went crazy fast on the lead, and I wasn't surprised to see him run so good at 50 to 1. I was really trying to find a way to include him last time. I didn't have that reef runner who did win the race, but I was trying to include this horse and playing a big exotic, and he had trouble in that race. And even though he got beat in there, I thought he ran great in that race. My negative with him is the fact that he's 7. And now this is his fourth start off of that big race, which was the big race. I think that was the one that he had to win. So I'm going to go with my sheet information here and say that this horse is not going to run tomorrow. But I would not be shocked if this horse won because that's how well this horse ran on tape last time. So really good tape. 6-1's a little short for me. Gonzalez been riding great. Sheriff's a good trainer. I see a lot of pluses, but I'm just going to pass on this horse because of the big race last time. And if he goes forward off of that race, he's going to be right there.
All right. Steve, number 7, Kale's Angel. Do you think Kale's Angel is going to be a heavenly reward for our viewers here?
Sometimes there's an absolute toss. I don't know where the horse is on your Brisnet numbers, but I've got this horse running 19, 20, 17, 16, 24. It's going to take, I mean, Beyond Brilliant has 5s in her pass, his pass, and ran a 10 last time. I mean, this horse is just completely overmatched on numbers. And I think Peter Miller's got this one in the wrong spot. Hate to say that about a Juan Hernandez horse. He rides the turf really well, but this horse is a complete toss for me.
Yeah, I mean the last two are an 80 and an 81. The one race that I think was competitive was back in Oaklawn last December, where this one ran a 97 and just blasted the field at Oaklawn Park. Has not delivered anything like that since. Yeah, you would think Hernandez could get better mounts. I mean, usually, he has a couple that are available to him. I guess in this race, I'm not seeing anything he's ridden recently that he passed down for this one. I think, it's just a matter of, well, they pay for 5 paces, 5 different places up to fifth place finish, and maybe Juan's thinking maybe I can get this gelding up to fifth, but in terms of anywhere in the trifecta, not with my money. And finally, number 8, First Piece. This is yet another one exiting the green flash, and this one just was nowhere to be found. Had some mild trouble early, but it's not like, it was the hill to die for. It was a big disappointment. This one actually is the defending champion of this race, the Eddie D, and that August race was the first race back. So, that was almost a year off. Certainly, off a layoff like that, you don't expect them to snap back immediately. So obviously, First Piece likes the course. He obviously fits at the class level, but seems way off form to have a chance today, unless it's just a complete form reversal.
See, I love this horse today. I think this horse is a very easy winner of this race.
Wow.
Jay, the last race was the start and where this horse was drawn and the way that race shook down and the way that Reef Runner came over and caused a chain reaction with 3 or 4 of those horses. It looked like a complete prep. I love the outside draw. Love every race this horse has ran down the hill. And I was thinking, God, this horse has got to be 7 by now. And then when I went back and I saw that this horse was only 5. I think this horse will be totally ready. This is a perfect situation for Glatt. He's always having horses run well under these circumstances. I think this one gets a great trip and wins this race. That's who I like.
Okay. Well, Steve, on that subject, we have your number 1 horse. Why don't you give us your number 2 and number 3 while you're throwing out winners?
All right, I'm gonna go. It was a kind of a coin flip, but I'm gonna go with the 2 Nesso's Last Hurrah, Hector Barrios. I'm gonna put that one in the 3rd spot. I'm gonna put the 5 Yellow Card in the 2nd spot, and the horse that I like most is the 8 First Piece.
Okay. Well, Steve, I'm going to go a little bit differently from you, but in fact, I think I'm going completely differently from you this time. But that's what makes it a fun show. My third choice is number 4, Sorrento Sky. Sorrento Sky ran representatively well in the Green Flash. I like the fact that he's rounding into shape, 3 for 7 locally. Umberto Rispoli, superior turf jock aboard. I like this one's chances to hit the board at a mild price. My number 2 horse is number 5, Yellow Card. I think Yellow Card is the class of the race, and I think if he can replicate last year's Franklin Simpson Stakes with that 102 figure, he's right in the mix. And my number 1 horse, I love Beyond Brilliant today. While he may never be the brilliant horse he was, back in 2022, when he was winning all of those graded races like the Charlie Whittingham and the City of Hope Mile, I think right now it seems like he doesn't want to go a mile anymore. And like you say, 5 furlongs, to 6.5 furlongs, sometimes that can be a reach. But I think this is a particular horse that's an experienced miler and is really set up to make that leap today. I mean, he basically finally got going. We finally saw a glimpse of the real Beyond Brilliant in the stretch when he just made that freight train run and went from 5 1/4 just a length off. And I just think a little more ground and Reef Runner might not have been picking up that first place trophy. I think 6.5 is just what he wants. Loving Beyond Brilliant today to snap back and resume his graded stake streak. So, Steve, before we go into the final segment of the show, do we have any thing we want to hear from one of our sponsors?
Yeah, folks, we've had casino house parties, been very, very good to us since the beginning. Casinohouseparties.com. And I will tell you, if you're looking for a party for the holidays, they're already starting to fill up. So give them a call, blackjack, craps, poker. Go to the website, casinohouseparties.com. They even do Let It Ride. So they've got all kinds of games, and give them a buzz. We really want to thank the people. They've been really great to us. So casinohouseparties.com. If you're thinking about having a party at your house, bring the casino to your house. Casinohouseparties.com.
All right. So, Steve, before we get into our races, and you've got one for Santa Anita, and so do I will have a presence on the Racing Jason website tomorrow at Belmont at Aqueduct as well. I don't know yet if it's going to be a full card or the best bets only. I'm still figuring out what I'm going to do, but I don't have a race ready from Belmont and Aqueduct. I'll just be doing one from Santa Anita like you do. But before we get into our Santa Anita picks, this was opening day, and Steve, just any advice for the viewers on how the track played and what to look for?
Yeah, I think we saw a pretty fair track today. We saw a few horses close. The horse got away from the field early in a non-winner two lifetime. Always, always, always check the pace in those non-winner two L's. Getting in front of bad horses. A lot of times those non-winner two L's are some of the worst races. Obviously, the real cheap maiden races now are very similar to that. And if you can get in front in those races, you're going to have a chance. And that horse today paid 30 some odd dollars, and was like 5 or 6 to 1 in the morning line in a fairly short field. I mean, it wasn't the hardest horse in the world to have. I did not have the horse. I didn't think the horse was going to be the horse on the lead. I actually played the horse that was second all the way around the track. But it just feels like those non-winner two L's. We're seeing a lot more of the cheaper races. When you see those cheaper races, speed is going to win a little higher percentage on those. And again, I thought the turf course was very fair today. The rails were out today. They're back to zero tomorrow. Could be a little bit different. I think closers will have a little bit of a chance tomorrow. But we certainly know that that's a pretty fair turf course overall. I do like to play speed a little bit more when I see the rails out, because I think that inside trip gets negated when that rail is way out, and that's why I like speed a little bit more under those circumstances.
Yeah, and when you talk about the non-winner of two lifetime, I really always look at the record and see how many races they've gone, getting that first win. I mean, you see horses sometimes that are 1 for 4. You see sometimes horses are 1 for 24, and I don't think as much of the latter ones. Yeah, those are races I always look at as with interest. Those and the non-winners of 3L as well. Yeah, good advice, Steve, and we'll continue to see how the main track and the turf course plays tomorrow in the big stakes races. So, Steve, where do you want to go for your Santa Anita pick tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at this hillside race again. We were on the hillside already, and it's going to be race 10. I like Bob Baffert's horse in here at a little bit of a price. He's 5 to 1 morning line. It's the 6 horse Kasulu, who ran a really nice race 3 races back down the hill. And I actually thought this horse ran a terrific second to Thought Process at a 1 mile distance. And you look at that 1.125 distance that this horse ran last time, 46 and 4 going a 1.125. Where the run-up time is, that is unbelievably fast. The average for the 1.125 race at Del Mar is about 49. The Eddie Reed, for years and years, I always say, are they going to ever run faster than 49 in the Eddie Reed? We don't run a whole lot of 1.125 races. So in that Del Mar Oaks, when this horse was on the lead, 46-4. That's 2 seconds plus faster than what the average is, and this horse just got swallowed up in that race. I think this is a great distance for her, and she cuts back. Kazushi Kimura is riding, and he seems to be going pretty good right now. I'm going to use the one warning, the two price horses that I thought had a chance, the 9 Eiffel and the 11 Wink and a Grin. I'm going to play the 6 first and second in the try with 1, 9, 11. It's the 6 Kasulu in race 10 down the hill at Santa Anita.
Yeah, Steve. And one thing I always say when Baffert starts a horse on the turf is you get the Bob Baffert turf discount. So yeah, I do think that you're going to get your price on that because people just seem to take Bob lightly on the turf, and there's a convinced that he's one of the all-time Hall of Fame trainers, but when he goes in turf, he's just another dude. So you have that advantage, and I like Bob with the right horse, and yeah, I think Kasulu is someone that really figures in the mix. I like your pick there. I'm going to go a little bit earlier on the card. I'm going to look at race two. It's a $50,000 optional claimer, and the favorites here are the main favorite here is hang on a second, number two, Miracle Mark. Like a couple of the horses we've talked about, including your pick First Piece, including Johannes. This is one that went off form last time. Is he really off form? Because he's really not the best dirt horse. He's over 5 on the dirt with a couple of seconds. And, but they took another shot. And, I think they hope someday to get this guy onto the dirt and get a dirt win. But the two turf races before were pretty nice. A couple of 92 bris figures, so he certainly figures in the mix. But the form doesn't exactly make me excited. The second choice at number 5 to 2 is Ghost of Midnight. Now this one is another one of these horses that just returned from a long layoff, like a few we discussed on today's show. And this one came off a big race in the San Carlos, the Grade 3 on the dirt here, picking up a triple-digit bris figure, but then he got hurt and he's been gone for, what, a year and a half? So I'm not that optimistic that Ghost of Midnight is going to bounce back and be something like his best today. He is facing easier, and this is Mark Latt we're talking about, so Ghost of Midnight would certainly have to be in the mix here. But the one I really like, and that's number 4, Code Duelo. Code Duelo has been facing generally some easier competition, has had some races at Los Alamitos where he's running some of the mixed breed races, and he's done pretty darn well in those races, winning the last 4 of them, all 4. And then, but he's no slouch in graded stakes either. In the Christmas opening day race last time in the Grade 2 Hernandez. This one grabbed the lead under Ayuso and held it most of the way before fading a little to finish fourth. Still 3 1/4 lengths behind. That's still an impressive performance in a Grade 2 at $68. This is a much easier race. This is basically a $50,000 claimer. Edgar Payeros has been riding for Craig DeLossie. Craig really got off to a good start. Wally DeLossie's son, has not done as well recently, but he's still, one of the sharpest trainers out there. And together, these two are 3 for 4. They're 75%. And I just think that Code Duelo will press the pace here as he usually does. And I think this is someone that can excel late. Liking that 6 to 1 price, that's what you get. Edgar Payeras is well respected at Los Al, but at Santa Anita, it's like, he's a Los Al jock. So he gets no respect here, just like Diego Herrera and some of the others that plied their trade at Los Alamitos and then came over. But I think Code Duelo has the form to take these, and liking that race at 6 to 1, liking that price for Code Duelo. I'm going to play some exactas here. It's a short field, but I think we can make a little bit of money here. We're going to play $1 exacta with the 4 on top of the other 5. And, when I say $1, this is basically an increment. we have people, we have a lot of viewers that, I say a dollar, but they're going to play 10. They're going to play 20. They're going to play 50. But the base increment here is a dollar exacta, four with all. And then I'm going to play again another ticket with four with number two and five, and then two and five on top of the four. I'm not really giving anybody else a chance to win this. So it's four with all, four with two, five with four, and a nice win and probably a nice place bet, assuming the price holds on number four, Code Duelo.
All right.
So, Steve, I think that's our show. Anything else you wanted to slip in before we close it up?
Well, I think we about covered it. Good time of the year. Take your notes. Very excited about watching all the big races tomorrow, and I'm sure I'll make a few wagers on some of the others.
Yeah, we have actually 2 weeks of Breeders' Cup preps. So Steve will be back hosting the next one. I will be up at a music festival. I'll be attending Hardly Strictly Bluegrass in Golden Gate Park. So
Wow.
we'll be doing the show a little bit later on Friday night when I get back to my hotel. So you'll have a little less time. Watch for this week's show. You're going to see this show posted. It's, let's see, 7:49. This show will be posted, but when you see it before probably 8:30 Pacific time, I'm going to put it up immediately. And then, next week's will be a little bit later. So don't worry, it's going to be there. Just you might have to stay up a little later to catch it. Steve, looking forward to a second week of these exciting Breeders' Cup preps.
Yeah, I sure am. Again, big time of the year. There's always something to look forward to in racing. Even January, the way Gulfstream is really the prime racing. I mean, really the only real quiet month is December, but I think we pretty much got something to look forward to. Then you start talking about the 3-year-old prep races for the Derby. So it goes in a nice circle, and this is a great time of year. I'm super excited about this year's Breeders' Cup, and I'm going to play in that Breeders' Cup betting challenge again. I've been in it. I think I've been in it 4 times now, so this will be my fifth try, and I'm looking for a little better performance than what I've had in the past.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. And this is your season, so looking forward to you coming through and representing at NHC. Congratulations on that achievement, by the way, and qualifying for the tournament again. So looking forward to seeing you do even better this year.
Well, that's
In
in
the
March, but what I was talking about is the Breeders' Cup
Well,
betting challenge,
of
which is
course.
in early November. But yeah, I'm excited about both of them, and right now I'm kind of focused on the Breeders' Cup and really, really, really paying close attention to these big races. Figure out who I'm going to make a decent wager on in the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get some indications tomorrow. In the meantime, it should be a beautiful day. If you've got the time to do it, get out to Santa Anita. You will enjoy a plethora of graded stakes races. Until then, and until next week, have a great weekend.
All right, everybody have a great day out there.